My name is Evelyn Carrington. I am 72 years old, and I have learned one truth about men like my son-in-law: they don't explode, they calculate. It was a Thursday night, not Sunday. Thursday is important. Thursday dinners were his idea. Control disguised as tradition. He called it family unity. I called it surveillance. His name is Adrian Wolfe, and the name fits too well: tailored suits, surgical manners. That faint smile that never quite reached his eyes. The kind of man who holds your hand warmly while tightening the leash. My daughter Naomi married him 3 years ago. Before Adrian, she laughed with her whole body. After Adrian, she laughed carefully. That's how abuse begins, not with bruises, with editing. Then there was his mother, Lorraine Wolfe, former etiquette instructor, widow, professional manipulator wrapped in Chanel perfume. She didn't believe in love. She believed in hierarchy. And Naomi, my child, was at the bottom of hers. Dinner looked perfect. Crystal glasses, low jazz in the background, dimmed lights. Steak cooked medium rare, just how Adrian liked it. Everything about that house was curated, including Naomi. She wore long sleeves despite the heat. She spoke softly, measured. Every time she answered a question, she glanced at Adrian first, like checking a teleprompter. That's when you know someone's been trained. Halfway through dinner, Lorraine brought up finances. Naomi still struggles with numbers, she said lightly, slicing her steak. It's why Adrian handles everything. Naomi forced a smile. That's not exactly, Adrian interrupted smoothly. Baby, you know budgeting stresses you out. Baby, the word wasn't affectionate, it was ownership. I watched Naomi's fingers tremble around her wine glass. She tried to explain something about a small charity donation she made. Adrian's jaw flexed. How much? He asked. It was just 500. The slap came fast. Not chaotic, not drunk, precise. His palm connected with her cheek like he'd rehearsed it. The sound didn't echo, it sliced. Time didn't freeze, it sharpened. Naomi didn't cry, she didn't gasp. She whispered, "I'm sorry," and lowered her eyes. That broke something ancient inside me. But the real horror, Lorraine clapped. Once, twice, soft, approving. That, she said calmly, is how you correct disobedience early. Correct, like Naomi was a dog or worse, property. I did not react, and that confused them because they expected drama. Old women are supposed to panic. Instead, I dabbed my napkin against my lips and said evenly, "Excuse me?" I walked to the hallway bathroom, locked the door, turned on the faucet so no one could hear my breathing. Then I looked at myself in the mirror. Wrinkles, silver hair, calm eyes. They saw an aging widow. What they didn't see? I spent 25 years as a federal prosecutor. Domestic violence division. I put men like Adrian behind bars before he learned how to shave. And men like Adrian always make one mistake: they escalate when they feel untouchable. Tonight, he felt untouchable. Good. I pulled my phone from my purse. Not shaking, never shaking, I made one call. "Marcus," I said quietly when he answered. "I need a discreet evaluation, surveillance, financial tracing, digital records. And I need it clean." Marcus Hale, former investigator, owed me a favor that could ruin him. His response was simple. "How bad?" I stared at my reflection. "Worse than I thought." When I returned to the table, Naomi avoided my gaze. Adrian was explaining market trends like nothing happened. Lorraine sipped wine, satisfied. They thought silence meant acceptance. They mistook composure for weakness. They mistook age for irrelevance. That will be their downfall. Because what Adrian doesn't know is this: abuse thrives in isolation. And tonight, he hit her in front of a witness. Me, and I don't lose cases. By the time dessert was served, the war had already started. They just didn't know it yet. And when predators realize they've been seen, that's when they panic. End of part 1. If you say part 2, we escalate into hidden cameras, financial manipulation exposed, psychological gaslighting turned back on Adrian, Naomi slowly waking up, and Lorraine realizing she picked the wrong mother to provoke. This will get darker. Predators don't fear anger, they fear exposure. And Adrian Wolfe had just made a mistake. He performed in front of an audience. Me, Marcus, moved fast. Within 48 hours, I had more information than Adrian imagined existed. Financial transfers Naomi never approved, joint accounts restructured quietly, her inheritance from her father redirected into investment vehicles under Adrian's sole management. Control isn't just physical, it's economic. And Adrian had built a cage out of paperwork, but the psychological part, that was darker. Marcus sent audio clips, small devices placed in neutral areas during a security consultation. Kitchen, living room, office. What I heard made my stomach turn cold. Adrian's voice, calm, clinical. "You're lucky I put up with you. No one else would tolerate your instability. If you ever leave, you'll have nothing. Not even your mother will believe you." Gaslighting, isolation, identity erosion. He wasn't just controlling her life. He was rewriting her reality. Then came Lorraine. Her influence was quieter but more poisonous. "You need structure," she told Naomi one afternoon. "A husband's correction is protection." Protection, they weaponized language beautifully. Everything violent was reframed as love. Everything cruel was labeled discipline. Classic coercive control, and they believed Naomi was too conditioned to break it. They underestimated two things, Naomi's bloodline and mine. I didn't confront them, not yet. Instead, I invited Naomi to lunch. Alone, no Adrian. No Lorraine, just mother and daughter. She arrived nervous, scanning the room before sitting down, checking her phone twice within 3 minutes. Trauma habits. "Are you safe?" I asked gently. She froze. That's the thing about abused minds, they don't recognize danger anymore, they recognize permission. "I'm fine," she said automatically. Fine, the most dangerous lie women tell, so I didn't argue. I slid a small envelope across the table. Inside were printed financial records. Highlighted, circled, "Facts don't shout, they whisper." Her hands trembled as she flipped through them. "I didn't approve this," she murmured. "I know," I said. Then I leaned in. "And you didn't deserve that slap." Her breathing changed. Faster, tighter, because now the illusion was cracking. Someone else had seen it, and when abuse is witnessed, it loses power. That night, Adrian called me. His tone was still smooth. Naomi seemed emotional after lunch. There it was, information tracking. He monitored her moods. "Did she?" I replied calmly. "I'd appreciate it if you didn't interfere in our marriage." Our marriage. Ownership language again. I let silence sit heavy, then I said something deliberate. "I interfere when laws are broken." The line went quiet, not long, just enough. He recovered quickly. "You're overreacting?" "No, Adrian, I'm documenting." Marcus uncovered something bigger 2 days later. Adrian wasn't just controlling Naomi. He had prior allegations, quiet settlements, 2 previous girlfriends who signed non-disclosure agreements. Money makes patterns disappear. But patterns still exist, and now I had them. Lorraine sensed something shifting. Predators smell pressure. She invited me for tea. Her house smelled like roses and superiority. "You've been filling Naomi's head," she said without smiling. I met her eyes evenly. "No, I've been clearing it." Her lips tightened. "You'll destroy her marriage." I leaned forward slightly. "No, your son already did that." For the first time, Lorraine's composure flickered. Because she understood something important, I wasn't guessing, I was certain. That night, Adrian made his second mistake. He installed tracking software on Naomi's phone. Marcus detected it within hours. Illegal surveillance. Now we weren't dealing with domestic cruelty. We were dealing with crimes, and predators who feel cornered, they escalate, which meant time was short. I called Naomi. "Pack a bag," I said calmly. "Don't explain, don't argue. Just pack." There was silence on the other end. Then, softly, "Is it that bad?" I closed my eyes. "It's worse than you think." What Adrian didn't realize was this: control works best when the victim believes escape is impossible. But the moment escape becomes visible, the abuser panics, and panic creates mistakes. I wasn't just protecting my daughter, I was building a case. One clean enough to bury Adrian Wolfe permanently, because I don't believe in revenge. I believe in consequences, and his were coming. Adrian Wolfe believed control was permanent. That's the delusion of men like him. They think fear is loyalty. They think silence is submission. They think power is ownership. They never imagine the moment the ground shifts beneath them. Naomi packed the bag, not dramatically, not loudly, just essentials, passport, documents, a photo of us from before Adrian. She walked out while he was in his home office running numbers like he always did. Control looks confident until it's interrupted. She arrived at my house shaking, not from fear, from withdrawal. Because escaping abuse isn't freedom at first, it's disorientation. For 3 years, Adrian dictated her schedule, her finances, her speech patterns. He corrected her posture. He chose her clothes. He approved her friendships. When you remove that structure suddenly, the brain panics. That's the part people don't talk about. Freedom feels terrifying before it feels safe. Adrian called within an hour. 42 missed calls, voicemails shifting tone with each one. First calm, "Baby, let's talk." Then irritated, "You're being dramatic." Then threatening, "You have no idea what you're doing." Marcus forwarded everything to my attorney, every voicemail timestamped, every financial record compiled, every prior settlement documented, because predators don't collapse from emotion, they collapse from evidence. Then Adrian made the mistake I knew he would. He showed up at my house, uninvited, demanding. He didn't yell. That would have been easier. He spoke softly. "Naomi, you're confused. Your mother is manipulating you." There it was again. Gaslighting 101, rewrite reality, shift blame, isolate the victim. But something had changed in Naomi's eyes. She looked at him, really looked. For the first time, she wasn't scanning for approval, she was evaluating. "You hit me," she said quietly. He didn't deny it, he reframed it. "I corrected you." And that's when the final piece fell into place, because correction implies authority, and he truly believed he had it. I stepped forward. "Adrian," I said calmly, "you're on recorded property." His expression shifted slightly. Small but real, Marcus emerged from the side hallway, and behind him, 2 detectives, not uniformed. Strategic. Adrian's face didn't explode with panic, it drained. Because in that moment he understood something critical. He wasn't being confronted, he was being processed. Illegal financial manipulation, coercive control, digital surveillance, assault with witness testimony, pattern evidence from prior partners. Predators survive on secrecy. I removed secrecy. That was the call I made the night of the slap, not revenge, documentation. Lorraine arrived an hour later, perfect hair, perfect pearls, cracked composure. "This is absurd," she insisted. I looked at her evenly. "You applauded." Silence. Because some actions can't be reframed, you either clapped or you didn't. Adrian tried one final tactic as officers escorted him. He looked at Naomi and said softly, "You'll regret this." Not "I'm sorry," not "I love you," just a threat disguised as prophecy. Naomi didn't flinch. For the first time in 3 years, she stood straight. "No," she said, "you will." The investigation moved quickly. The prior settlements reopened. 2 former partners agreed to testify once they realized they weren't alone. Patterns became public record, investors withdrew, clients distanced themselves because abuse thrives in private. Reputation dies in daylight. Lorraine stopped hosting teas. Her social circle grew quiet. Control families depend on image. An image had shattered, not by screaming, by exposure. Weeks later, Naomi sat across from me at the same dining table where everything began. No long sleeves, no lowered eyes, just clarity. "I thought I needed him," she admitted. "That's how control works," I said gently. "It convinces you survival equals dependence." She nodded slowly. "And you?" she asked. "How were you so calm?" I thought about that, about the slap. The applause, the silence. "Because I've learned something," I said. "Monsters don't fear emotion, they fear consequences." Adrian Wolfe lost his freedom. Lorraine lost her illusion, but Naomi, she found herself. And that's the part people misunderstand about stories like this. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't even about punishment. It was about interruption. Abuse is a cycle. It passes quietly from belief to belief, until someone refuses to stay quiet. That night at dinner, when my son-in-law hit my daughter and his mother applauded, they thought they were demonstrating authority. What they were actually doing was giving me a witness. And I don't lose cases.